He's a good boy. Now the slight change in his behaviour is because you're here, I'm afraid.
Hi, I'm Gina Rostow-Smith and this is Ozzie Minor. He's 10 years old, New Forest pony, whom I rescued from the RSPCA. I've had him for about 2.5 years now. He was found abandoned in a field and was rehomed by someone. They thought he was a riding pony, and on day 2 they put a saddle on him and tried to ride him. He was not very pleased and bucked them off. And a week later he went back to the centre and I rehomed him from there.
I've been able to get the head collar on Ozzie, but he can be quite tricky in the stable to get the head collar on. And actually he was very conscious of the fact that there was a camera pointing at him and he didn't want to be tacked up. Gina's now leading him out and we're going to go into the outdoor arena. Now it doesn't take me long to get the roller on or the fluffy. He's become quite good with that, but when we first started working with him I had to put a surge roller on and fix it with Velcro, and he didn't like the sound of the Velcro either, but we couldn't actually buckle up the surcingle, the roller, because he was terrified, and as soon as you tried to pull up the billets he panicked and was gone. So we've come a long way really with this horse, and he is a lot calmer. Now I'm just explaining to Gina that she needs to be closer to him and not further away, and what she's doing is she's bending her body slightly off centre, so she's moving away from him, and he actually needs somebody to be very close to him. Now I'm going to do what we call the snake test, and I do this with all the horses I start on the long reins. I drag a line around the back of the horse to see if he can tolerate this. Now we know that Ozzie was attached to a long rein when he panicked and when the girl and the saddle probably came off at the same time and he galloped off, and the long rein would have chased him, and so he's terrified of long reins. And so what we do is I do this snake test, as I call it, and I drag it round. Now he is very sensitive about me coming round the back and coming up into his left side. And we've been doing this since February, by the way, and he is only just now allowing me to go all the way round without him spinning and trying to keep an eye on me. So we are making quite considerable progress, but coming round the back and coming up onto his near side is his worst side. There you go. You see, he's very, very tetchy about that, but a lot better than he was. Now coming up onto the off side, he's fine. He won't even move, because it wasn't on the off side that they saddled him. It wasn't on the off side that the girl mounted him. And after all, they didn't know that he'd never been broken in. You can see the line coming through the grass here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try and put the lines on him. Now he sees me pick up the lines, he'll be off. He hates them. What has happened to Ozzie is that he's become addicted to the adrenaline rush he gets when he's afraid. So the adrenaline rush is actually feeding into his psyche. He's actually addicted to it. Now as soon as I go to put these lines on, he'll tolerate it for a while. I can slap them on his neck, and I can slap them down his legs, and I can slap them over his quarters, and he doesn't seem to mind. But as soon as I try and attach a long rein to that roller, he is gone. So this is Ozzie on one of his lovely little adrenaline junkie moments. And we have now been able to cure this, but I hope that we'll be able to bring you some video footage of how we've done it and the progress that we've made with him. So here we go. We're still going to work with these long reins. They're very short long reins, by the way. I first used these when I was working with Dolly because we needed long reins that were short. As you can see, the interesting thing about him too is that we have a bandage, one of these ace bandages, going around his quarters. Now this is fascinating because he's never had anything like this before. He's not afraid of it. He doesn't care about the ace bandage. I can pop that over his quarters, I can slap it, I can pull it out and it can go ping, and it's soft, and he doesn't mind. He's never minded. But I put a line on and he's gone. So this is Mr. Adrenaline Junkie going off because this is what they did to him when they saddled him. Now I'm going to work with him myself and I'm going to ask him to step forward, and I'm holding him on that roller. So he's having to take some pressure on the roller. And this is the best we've seen him for a while. But nope, he's going to go. There you go. He's off. And this would have been the 5th or 6th time he'd done it. And he also can be quite difficult to catch. So I decided that I wasn't going to catch him. I was just going to treat him as though he was invisible. So I'm on the end of the rope. I'm not even taking any notice of him at all. I'm treating him as an invisible horse. And you know, he didn't like that very much. He didn't like being invisible. Oh, he's gone off again. Mr. Adrenaline Junkie. So I just went back and I picked him up and I thought, right, well, I'm just going to walk around and I'm going to ignore him, and he's somewhere on the end of this rope. And we found that very effective. He didn't like that at all. Anyway, this is us taking the roller and the fluffy numnah off, and you can see he's standing quietly, and I'm just walking with him a little bit. But actually ignoring your horse is very powerful. Very, very powerful stuff. I'm now giving him to Gina and she's going to lead him back to the yard. And we'll be bringing more video footage of Ozzie and his amazing training program, which is really going forward in leaps and bounds. Thank you for watching. Now, here we're back in the yard, and actually this is Coran, who's my video. Coran does everything. She does all the videoing, but she does all the editing. And he was very, very conscious that Coran was there and quite afraid of her. And this was interesting because when we got back into the stable, he seemed to take an interest in Coran. So I've just explained to Coran that if she holds her hands a little bit away from him and back, he will bring his head round and bring his head into Coran's hands, which is exactly what he's doing now. He's turned away again, but he'll come back. What you have to do when you're working with a horse, and all horses are sensitive, is understand what the horse wants and give the horse room to ask for it. And this is exactly what Coran is doing. She's allowing the horse to come into her. And remember, you know, only half an hour earlier than this, he was staring at Coran as though she had just fallen off another planet. So now he really wants those hands on him, and he's moving. In a minute, you'll see him moving forwards in the stable to come up to her, to get more. There you are, he's just moved forward. Now that's very unusual for Ozzie. It's very unusual indeed, and he's really enjoying. Look, he's put his nose into Coran's chest. He's really enjoying being with Coran and being touched by her. And he's almost sort of zoning out. Very interesting. In fact, I think he has zoned out. He looks rather happy, doesn't he? So that was a lovely ending to our day's filming.